Hi folks, how y'all doing? Will here back for another fight card prediction. We're going to be breaking down UFC 184, Ronda Rousey versus Cat Zingano for the UFC Women's Bantamweight Championship. If you think Ronda Rousey is going to win, give me a thumbs up. And if anybody out there is thinking that Cat Zingano has a chance or is going to win, give me a thumbs down. This card about 8 weeks ago looked fantastic. You had Vitor Belfort, Chris Weidman, you had Jacare and Romero, and it's just been decimated. And it now, for a pay-per-view, it's really, I'm not one of these guys who likes to shit on cards and stuff like this, but for a pay-per-view card, this is very, very weak compared to UFC 189. We've got Aldo McGregor, Lawler, McDonald. UFC 187 is looking Jones, Johnson, Weidman, Belfort, Nurmagomedov, Cerrone. You've got Arlovski and Brown. So this is a weak card with only the one fight that really matters on the card, in all honesty. We're going to get straight into it. My fight picks for this weekend's card are out as well, so go give that a watch. I was going to put Invicta ones out as well, but I didn't have the time. Been working a bit, so I've got these out early. So starting in the featherweight division, we've got Masio Fullen against Alexander Torres. Yeah, this fight should not really be happening in the UFC. Fullen's 9-4, Torres is 2-1. They were both on the Tough Latino America show. Yeah, scraping the bottom of the barrel putting this on a pay-per-view, even though it's on UFC Fight Pass. This shouldn't be in the UFC, put it that way. What I've seen of Fullen, he's not bad. He's a wee bit good everywhere. I think he's got a little bit more experience over Torres. He's beaten some guys he was actually on the show with. His submission, his takedown defense is fairly good. Both strikers aren't really. Both striking isn't very good at all, I'm afraid. I think Fullen's going to win this. Don't think the fight's going to be overly exciting, but I'm going to go Fullen by a decision. Next up in the lightweight division, we've got James Krause against Valmir Lazaro. Why this fight is on UFC Fight Pass, I have no idea. They did this with Makovsky and Elliott, which should have been on the main card last week. This fight should at least be on the Fox Sports 1 card. No idea why James Krause is buried down in here. Lazaro's coming off his first loss in the UFC, lost a pretty unanimous decision to James Vick. Vick took him down, used his long range to keep him at bay and hurt him with some of the shots. He comes from Nova União, but he's very much kind of like a Muay Thai fighter. He comes forward and he's got the typical Muay Thai stance, and he tries and kicks and punches from that stance, and not too bad a prospect for the lightweight division, but I think he's got a lot of work to do to excel himself up that division. We know what it's like. James Krause has come in, he beat Sam Stout in about 2 weeks' notice, lost to Bobby Green, got kicked in the nuts, beat Jamie Varner, and then he lost, and he pretty much got outclassed by Jorge Masvidal, who is a veteran of the sport, has been around a long time. He's getting better on his feet. You can see that with every fight. I feel that he's getting better. You can see his movement. You can see him planting his feet and putting his power into his shots. When it goes to the ground, he's extremely dangerous down there. I think he'll have too much for Lazaro. I think he can take him down. I think he can possibly get a submission victory. And I'm actually going to go for a James Krause win in the third round via submission. On to the preliminary card, Fox Sports 1. Starting off in the heavyweight division, Derrick Lewis against Ruan Potts. This is murderous, this fight. Derrick Lewis is going to fucking run through Ruan Potts inside the first 2 minutes. I think the first big strike he hits Potts with, Potts is going to go down. Potts shouldn't be in the UFC either. Lost to Sopalele, and then lost to Anthony Hamilton via big body shots. Derrick Lewis is coming off his first loss to Matt Mitrione. Hit Mitrione with a fairly decent shot, but Mitrione came back with an even bigger shot. Put Lewis's lights out pretty much. But I like him very early in this fight in the first round. Next up, we've got Dhiego Lima against Tim Means. Lima's coming off a win over Jorge Blade Oliveira, I think it was, in Brazil. Looked very make it look very easy. I think Oliveira's another guy who probably shouldn't be in the UFC, if I'm being honest with you. Hit him with some nice shots, popped the jab out there, hit him with some leg kicks as well, took him down and tried to get the submission, but being a Brazilian, I think, and fairly versed in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Oliveira knew kind of what to do, and he stifled Lewis and Lima, and Lima just kind of held on and went for the victory via points. Tim Means, he's coming off a win as well, and it slipped my memory who it was. Masio Alexander, sorry, went down to Brazil, beat him down there, a split decision, was more a unanimous decision. Alexander, remember, got the first round, but just a gritty fighter who's always there. He's very hard to put away. Beat Hernani Perpetual beforehand, and lost to Neil Magny before that, which he probably won against Neil Magny as well. That's a very close fight. I see it going to be a split, and I can see Lima just getting the split decision here. I think he's going to do a little bit more work than what Means will do, but very close fight, could go either way. Next up in the bantamweight division, we've got Roman Salazar against Norifumi Kid Yamamoto. Kid Yamamoto, he is a legend of the sport, but he shouldn't be fighting anymore. He's lost 5 of his last 6. Ever since he lost to Joe Warren away back in 2009, he just hasn't looked the same. That split decision victory loss really sent him in a downward spiral. Went on and lost to Kanahara. I think he fought again in Dream against Lopez, I think it was via punches in the first round. Lopez wasn't very good. Went to the UFC, faced Demetrius Johnson. We all know what Demetrius Johnson is now. He's very much one of the best fighters in the world, if not in the top 3 fighters, in my view, in the world. Darno Yoneyama he shouldn't be losing to guys like that. Lost very, very convincingly. Fought Von Lee, and Von Lee caught him in a submission. Plain and simple, he shouldn't be fighting in the UFC. He shouldn't be fighting anymore. He's against Salazar here, who is just not a good fighter whatsoever. Lost his UFC debut to Mitch Gagnon. If Kid Yamamoto can't win this fight, he's not going to win a fight in the UFC. I'm going to go with Yamamoto. I think he's going to get the victory. I think he's going to get a decision victory. I don't think he'll do anything and stop Salazar. Hopefully I'm wrong. Moving on, we have the main event, kind of the Fox Sports 1 card with Mark Munoz against Roan Carniero. Carniero's coming back into UFC. I think it's his first time in about 6 years. I remember watching this guy at UFC 85 in London, 2008. He lost to Kevin Burns. Was out the UFC for a bit, got a winning streak together. Then he won the 3 fights in one night, beat Brock Larson, I think it was, at Battlegrounds MMA, to get his chance back in the UFC here against Mark Munoz, who is he's another fighter who's on a downward spiral pretty much within the sport. A really nice guy to meet. Actually met him in Manchester. Just a really nice guy. He got knocked out. The first I met him was after he got knocked out by Machida, and he gave me some of his time, which I very, very much appreciated, and got a picture with him. Great guy, really very good wrestler, heavy-handed, will try and take this to the ground. I think this is a good fight for him as well. He lost to Musasi via rear naked choke, and then obviously got knocked out by Machida, both in the first round. Before that, win over Tim Boach. I like Mark Munoz here. I think he can get a stoppage, and he can get it in the second round. So I'm going to go TKO for Mark Munoz. Moving on to the main card, we start off in the lightweight division. A fight I'm a bit looking forward to. Tony Ferguson against Gleison Tibau. Tony Ferguson's like streaking in the division. He's beating guys he should be beating, and he's kind of getting small step ups every fight. Beat Danny Castillo, very close fight, split decision. Once Abel Trujillo kind of blew his wad, took over, hit him with some nice shots, got him down. And as soon as you get Abel Trujillo down the ground, you've got a very good chance of stopping. And he caught him in the submission and got the victory. Gleison Tibau, he fought probably a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago, in Boston against Norman Park. A veteran, I think he's about 24, 25 fights in the UFC. Doesn't get knocked out. I think Nick Diaz is the only one, along with Michael Johnson, who fights this Saturday against Edson Barboza. Yeah, Tibau did very well against Park. He stopped Park. Park was probably the quicker fighter. He actually he threw his punching, his striking was a lot better than what it's been in the past. You're not going to take Gleison Tibau down unless you're elite, and Park was saying that he's going to take him down with his judo, and he was saying that all week, and it never came even close to taking him down, I don't think. Maybe he got him down one time, but he was back up very, very quickly. I like Tony Ferguson in this one. I don't think he'll stop Gleison Tibau. I think Tibau's just one of the grizzled veterans. He's very hard to stop. If Ferguson does stop him here, it's going to be a very, very good stoppage, but I like Ferguson by decision. Next up, we've got Alan Jouban against Richard Walsh. Another fight that shouldn't be on a pay-per-view. Horrible fight to put on a pay-per-view. Both coming off losses. Jouban to Varley Alves back in Brazil. Probably had a chance to win that fight, if I'm being honest with you. If it was anywhere else in the world, he probably would have got that win. Had a great knockout of Seth Brzezinski, won himself some money there. Talented fighter fighting out I think it's Los Angeles, sorry. At the Black House, I think it is. Look forward to actually watching this guy. He's against Richard Walsh. He is coming off a loss to it's not Kakuno, who was it? It was Kunamoto, who lost last week. Probably should have won that fight as well. If it wasn't Japan, he probably would have got that victory as well. A very hard guy to stop. Comes forward, very aggressive. Tries to get the takedown, pound you out. But he is this another. I think Jouban is going to be the favourite here. I think I've seen the betting lines. He is the favourite, and I think I will be putting him in some of my parlays. Jouban, I think he'll be fairly good. I think he can get a stoppage as well. So I'm going to go early third round TKO for Alan Jouban. Next up, we've got Jake Ellenberger against Josh Koscheck. Another fight which is just wow. Both guys, I think, on 3 fight losses. Josh Koscheck hasn't probably fought in nearly 2 years. Hasn't probably won in nearly 3, maybe 3.5. Losses to Tyron Woodley, got knocked out by Robbie Lawler. Johnny Hendricks, I think he lost via split decision before that. A veteran of the Ultimate Fighter, tough one. It's his time to hang it up here. If he loses this, we're not going to see him. This is probably a bigger fight for Jake Ellenberger if he wants to continue. Probably fighting the UFC. He lost to Kelvin Gastelum. He started off fairly well, popped him with some nice shots. Then he kind of got hit with a jab and then a left hook. And he kind of crumbled a little bit. And Kelvin Gastelum got in his back very, very easily. Got the choke very easily. And Gastelum is a talented guy in that welterweight division, or soon to be middleweight division. Hopefully he's back down at welterweight division, because that's where he really should be if he gets his weight under control. I like Jake Ellenberger in this fight. I think this is Josh Koscheck's last fight. We'll probably see him in the UFC. Horrible analyst is Josh Koscheck. He needs to stay off telly altogether. But I like Jake Ellenberger. I think he can finish him. He's been working with Edmund Taverdian, so his boxing has got a lot better, a lot crisper. I can see a late finish for Jake Ellenberger as well, so I'm going to go Ellenberger by TKO. Next up, we've got Raquel Pennington against Holly Holm in the co-main event. Holly Holm, if you're a casual fan of MMA, you probably don't know who Holly Holm is. A boxing world champion, I think it was 33-3-1, I think her record was. She won so many world titles. Coming into the MMA, she's 7-0, and she's been devastating, but she's got the step up now. I think she's got herself a fairly nice opponent to start off your UFC career. I mean, most of her finishes in MMA are actually to her leg strikes. She's got very heavy kicks. Jan Finney, she knocked out. She won the Legacy title against, I think it was Angelique Kerner, beat by a 5th round knockout head kick. It takes a little bit of time to get going. Holly Holm, she pops her strikes. She's got great boxing. She's always going to have that. Very dangerous with her strikes. I think once she gets into the 2nd round, she will start to hit Pennington, and eventually I think she'll land one of these kicks and she'll knock her out. See, Pennington's not a girl to really be say she can't win a fight. We saw in her last fight against Ashley Evans Smith, she was getting dominated for pretty much 4 minutes 55 seconds of that round, and somehow caught her in a bulldog. It was a beautiful submission, and Raquel Pennington got the victory there. But I just feel that Holly Holm's going to break her down. Once she gets her rhythm going, she's going to catch her with something. And Pennington, she's not one of these girls to really go down quite easily, but I think Holm can do it, and she will knock Pennington out via TKO in the second. And the main event, it's actually one I'm really looking forward to. It's about 2 years in the making. It's Ronda Rousey defending her title against Cat Zingano. I personally think the second, I'm a big Miesha Tate fan, as most of you will know, but I think Cat Zingano is by far probably the second best fighter in the women's bantamweight division. I just love the way she fights. That fight with Miesha Tate taking her out in the third round was just it's pretty spectacular. I say I wasn't too happy because I'm a Tate fan, but Amanda Nunes, she came back after some adversity with her knees, the loss of her husband, which was horrible. Had a very tough first round. Nunes got on top of her, was pounding her with some big shots. Comes into the second round, you just seen a different Cat Zingano. She caught her on like a DDT like takedown and dumping her on her neck. She did that a couple of times and just pounded, just absolutely broke the will of Amanda Nunes, and came out with the victory there. And she got Rousey. Rousey, complete destruction of Alexis Davis, 16 seconds. A nice right hook to the temple, hit her with a knee, judo throw, about 10 punches, out. I would like to pick Cat Zingano here. I think that if she can stop Ronda Rousey from getting off quick, I think the longer the fight goes, it goes into Zingano's hands, because she just comes forward, she doesn't stop. But I just can't see. I can only see a Rousey victory, if I'm being honest with you, but I hope it's a close fight. I would like Cat to win, but I'm going to go with Ronda Rousey via a third round submission. So that is my picks there for UFC 184 from the Staples Center in Los Angeles. I'm not sure when the next card is. I think it's UFC 185 in Dallas, Pettis versus Dos Anjos, and I love that card. Esparza, Jędrzejczyk, Hendricks, Matt Brown, Nelson, Overeem, Carriazo, Cejudo, and then you've got Cruikshank throughout, Sergio Pettis, you've got Joe Duffy. So I'll be back with that. Come and follow me on Twitter at Will Martin's MMA. If you want to play counter move, come and play with us, guys. We'll add you to our game, and I will be back for UFC 185 in a couple of weeks. So enjoy the fights when they come round, and I will catch you all later. Take care.